Hello to all my friends and furry woodland creatures. It's autumn, so I'm here to do my autumn TBR. As you can tell from my very cozy setup, I absolutely adore autumn, or it's coming up to autumn depending on when you think autumn starts. But as of right now, the mood I'm in, it's autumn. I've got my woodland walk candle burning, and like I say, from my setup you can tell I'm definitely in the autumn mood. I'm quite warm, but I'm in my lovely cozy new jumper, and I'm just very excited about all the books I've chosen to read in autumn. So I'm going to share those with you today. And also a very quick side note, I would like to congratulate myself because I set myself a summer TBR, which I can link in the description box down below, and I actually read 4 out of the 5 books on that TBR, which for me is miraculous because I usually set TBRs and then end up never reading them. So I'm hoping to carry that energy into autumn as well. So the first book that is on my list is one I've actually already started as well. Foxfire, Wolfskin and Other Stories of Shape-Shifting Women by Sharon Blackie. And this one was so kindly gifted to me by the amazing Sylvie from the TBR Diaries, who's also one of my bestest friends. She gifted me this for my birthday, and ever since receiving it, I have wanted to read it, and I knew that I was going to read it in autumn because it's just got all the autumn vibes. I'm going to read the blurb because it just massively sells it, and it's what sold it to me. So yeah, charged with positivity and power, this memorable collection is an extraordinary immersion into the bodies and voices, mindscapes and landscapes of shape-shifting women of our native folklore. These stories are about coming to terms with our animal nature, exploring the ways in which we might regenerate our fractured relationship with the natural world and uncovering the wildness and wilderness within. I just love everything about that. Like, yes please. Like I say, I've already read 2 of the stories and it is definitely autumnal vibes. Like I say, like it says on the back, it's very sort of like women and nature involved so far, and I cannot wait to devour some more of these stories all through autumn. This next book on my list is a myth retelling. As it gets into autumn and winter, I get more interested in sort of like historical fiction and myth retellings, and this one has been on my TBR for a while, and that is the Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood. Is it Penelopiad? I think that was right the first time I said it. Obviously this is a retelling of Odysseus, but this one is obviously a retelling about Odysseus's wife Penelope, and yeah, it's one that I'm very excited about reading. I have actually read another myth retelling in this Canon G7x myth retelling series because it's like a whole series, and that was Wait by Jeanette Winterson, and I loved that one, so I've been looking forward to this one for a really long time, and it's short as well. I always like to pick at least one short book to put on a seasonal TBR that I know that I'm just going to speed through, and for me it's this one. And again, I want to say thank you to Charlotte from Queenie Reads, as Charlotte gifted me this one for either a birthday or Christmas. That was probably a long time ago because I'm very bad at reading the books on my TBR. But yes, very excited about reading another myth retelling. So this next one is an absolute hunker chunk, but I'm going to listen to it on audiobook because I think it's the only way I'm ever going to get around to reading this book, because I realised that I think my excitement around this book has completely died out. So I might start listening to it on audiobook and then decide I want to read it physically, but I have got the audiobook already on Audible, so it's ready to go, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I don't know how long it's going to take me to listen to this on audiobook because she big. It's 830 pages. I regret looking at that. Yes. This is, supposedly it was meant to be a standalone fantasy, but now there's a prequel book. I believe it's a prequel book that's just as large. So technically not really a standalone, but obviously you can, I'm guessing, still read it as a standalone. I've heard very mixed things about this actually. Some people absolutely love it and give it 5 stars, which is kind of, I think, where I'm going to lean, because I do love big, chunky, standalone fantasy books. And then other people like have felt a bit disappointed, I think. So yeah, I don't really know, but I'm going to try the audiobook and we will see. But hopefully I can listen to it and get this massive one off of my TBR. And the last two books, I kind of apologise in advance because I'm pretty sure I've mentioned them in previous TBR videos and previous autumn TBR videos, but they're ones that like are definitely autumnal vibes, but they both kind of scare me for different reasons. But the first one is Autumn by Ali Smith. It's probably about the third year I've had this on my autumn TBR. But this year is the year it's going to happen. I'm going to make myself read my very first Ali Smith book, because I have about 6 of them on my TBR. I'm like hoarding them. Because in my head I believe I'm going to adore her writing, but her writing also terrifies me because apparently it's very complicated and makes no sense whatsoever. So I know I'm going to have to use a lot of like thinking and brain capacity, have a lot of brain space to, you know, mentally work out what's going on when I read this book. Again, it's another kind of short one. That's the only thing that's keeping me going and keeping me excited about reading this, and the blurb actually sounds kind of interesting too, and the font is quite big. But yes, I am excited to, like I say, see what Ali Smith's writing is all about and hopefully fall in love with it. But like I say, I'm gonna, I think, have to read it when I'm not crazy busy at work, and unfortunately September and October are our busiest months at work. So yes. And the last book on my autumn TBR is one I'm definitely going to get to this autumn, because I have dedicated 2 whole weeks to specifically read this book, because it's ridiculous, because I know I'm going to love it, and I think that's why I'm scared of reading it. It's really stupid, but you know. But next week, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be dog sitting. Yeah, my little AC Bobbies, I get to dog sit him for 2 weeks, and I decided in the vibes, I feel like it's going to be really cute to just house sit, dog sit, and, you know, just read a book for those 2 weeks. I am also going to be at work, but I'm going to be commuting, which is great because that's extra like reading time. And again, I think this is going to be the book. It's gonna happen this time. But it is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Again, I've had this on my TBR for a ridiculous amount of time. I have actually read part of it before. So I read like 90 pages of it, but it was in the middle of summer and it was just the complete wrong season to be reading it, and I was really enjoying it, and I know that this is going to be a 5-star read. But like I say, that scares me and I don't know why. And the reason why I know this is going to be a 5-star read for me is because of the synopsis, the writing, just everything. So this one follows our main character Daniel, whose father, I think, works in the Cemetery of Forgotten Books, and Daniel either gets drawn to or has to look after one specific book called The Shadow of the Wind, and he then has to go on this sort of like journey of trying to find the author. But then there's also a love story. It's set in Barcelona in like the 1800s, no, in 1945. So it's slightly historical fiction. It's got the book aspect. It's just going to be so great. It kind of gives me the Book Thief vibes, and obviously, as you know, I adore that book. So very, very excited. So those are all of the books I want to read this autumn. Please let me know in the comments what book that you are dedicating to read this autumn or this fall. And I'm so happy to be back. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially because I haven't uploaded in quite some time. And hopefully I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.